Welcome to ScreenCrush, I'm Ryan Airy. I just posted a video about the hexagons in WandaVision, theorizing that hexagons are the building blocks of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. 6 Infinity Stones, 6 sides of a hexagon. As proof, I cited the hexagon grid that appears when spaceships jump through wormholes in the Marvel movies. Now in this video, I also pointed out that the Kree, the most advanced civilization in all of outer frickin' space, have covered their capital planet, Hala, with hexagons. They even use hexagons to commune with the Supreme Intelligence. Remember, the Supreme Intelligence is very important to the Kree. It's basically their god, their leader, their Messiah, their Khaleesi, their call, everything rolled into one. So it seemed like I had a really good handle on the hexagons. But then our editor-in-chief, Matt Singer, proposed an even simpler solution, one so obvious I was dumbfounded that I didn't see it earlier. Here we are, theorizing about the fabric of the universe and the devil and the bees.
Not the bees! Ah!
And Matt had one very elegant solution. Maybe the Kree are doing this to Wanda.
And you're a Kree, a race of noble warriors.
Heroes. Noble warrior heroes.
So many pieces fit. And just to recap, the Kree are an ancient warlike civilization who brainwashed Carol Danvers.
You have to let go of the past.
I don't remember my past.
Nearly hunted the Skrulls to extinction and then lost a 1,000-year war with Xandar.
1,000 years of war between us will not be forgotten.
The most recent information we have about the Kree is that some of them, like Ronan the Accuser, are not cool with the Empire suing for peace with Xandar. So let's break down this Kree theory, and I think you're going to be amazed with how well this fits. So I pointed out that the hexagons are all over planet Hala. They're on windows, furniture, mass transit, maps, and the gateway to the palace of the Supreme Intelligence. And of course they stand on a hexagon to commune with their all-powerful leader.
All hail your Lord!
Man, that kills me.
And that universal neural teleportation network, the hexagon grids that pop up every time somebody flies through a wormhole to a different part of space, the Kree are such an ancient civilization, maybe they built that. And they built it out of hexagons because, like, that's their thing. They're into hexagons. Okay, so the Kree love hexagons. What does this have to do with WandaVision? Well, maybe the Kree are the ones controlling Wanda, and they've surrounded Westview with a hexagonal force field. Episode 5 heavily implied that Wanda was the villain.
I have what I want, and no one will ever take it from me again.
But then she also says this.
I don't know how any of this started in the first place.
And it makes sense that the Kree would be the people manipulating her. This once proud race has recently suffered a long series of setbacks. Their arch-enemies, the Skrulls, were able to escape with a new ship that's faster than anything in the Kree Armada. Judging by the Far From Home post-credits scene, the Skrulls have also managed to rebuild their fleet. Then the Kree lost a 1,000-year war with Xandar. Zealots like Ronan the Accuser have broken away, starting a civil war within the Empire.
He is slaughtering children, families.
That is your business.
Not to mention the havoc that Thanos caused with the snap. The Kree are an empire in decline, and they need a new superweapon. We saw in Captain Marvel that they manipulated Carol Danvers for years, keeping her memory blank and mind-controlling her. Now they're mind-controlling another woman who has the power of an Infinity Stone, Wanda. I 100% believe that the people of Westview are subconsciously urging Wanda to have kids.
For the children.
So maybe the Kree wanted Wanda to create superpowered youngsters so they could create an army of warriors powered by the Infinity Stones. Heck, it even looks like Monica Rambeau received powers when Wanda kicked her out of the town. So maybe the Kree can use this energy Wanda's creating to keep creating superpowered beings. Beings like Carol Danvers. But then, in episode 5, the kids, and Agnes, subconsciously urge Wanda to bring back the dead.
You can fix anything, Mom. Fix the dead.
You can do that?
Now this results in Wanda reaching across the multiverse for another version of her brother.
You guys won. I didn't do anything. I've been here all day.
So the Kree could also be trying to use Wanda as a gateway to the entire multiverse. This hexagon could be the start of a new transportation network that would allow them to gather Kree from other realities. But consider this. While in the fake 1980s, Wanda tries to resurrect Pietro, but instead brings back a multiverse version of him who was alive in the 80s, from the Fox X-Men movies. The decades are slowly advancing to the 1990s, the decade when Veers broke free from Kree control. Maybe this could all be a plot to hit the 90s and pluck a version of Veers from the multiverse that's still loyal to the Supreme Intelligence. The reason I think this fits? The Kree had the power of an Infinity Stone imbued within one of their soldiers. After they lost Veers, everything started to go downhill. Now they reckon they can rise again by still using the power of an Infinity Stone. But that's just theory crafting. Let's look at what's actually in the show. Why is Monica Rambeau, who appeared in Captain Marvel, in this show? Why did they take time out to show that she's not happy with Auntie Carol?
Well, I'd argue that Captain Marvel came close.
Her powers came from an Infinity Stone too, right?
We are not talking about her, we are talking about Wanda.
They could have used any number of past MCU characters, but they used a woman with a connection to the Kree, the Skrulls, and Captain Marvel. Also, why S.W.O.R.D? I'm going to get a little inside baseball here, but the film rights to this agency were actually held by Fox when Disney started to develop this show. So the mouse would have had to have negotiated with Fox to use the agency.
No, I said more Mandalorian!
So why bother? This could have just as easily been the FBI camped out outside of the town. After all, Jimmy Woo is an FBI agent. But instead, Marvel specifically wanted the one agency from the comics that protects against extraterrestrial threats.
Space is now full of unexpected threats.
Maybe because the series ends with the Kree attempting to invade Earth, but they're stopped by Wanda, Vision, their twins, and a superpowered Monica Rambeau, and then Captain Marvel shows up. After all, Paul Bettany hinted that there was a secret actor on the show that he'd never worked with before, so that could be Brie Larson.
Hey, Peter Parker.
The theory fits in other ways too. Remember Jimmy Woo's missing informant?
I've got a witness set up down the road in Westview, and this morning it looked like he flew the coop.
Your missing person is in the witness protection program.
Maybe he was a Skrull. It makes sense that the FBI's witness protection program would help relocate Skrulls, and Jimmy Woo has experience working with superpowered people.
I'll be seeing you again. Where? Like, in general, I'll see, like...
This would explain why S.W.O.R.D would send a drone to look for a missing FBI witness, because that witness was from outer space. This might also explain why Jimmy thinks that Skrulls might be to blame, as seen on the whiteboard here. We also learned that Wanda recovered Vision's body from S.W.O.R.D headquarters.
9 days ago, Maximoff stormed our facility, stole the Vision's body, and resurrected him.
Now I say recovered because I don't think she stole the Vision. I don't think she wanted S.W.O.R.D turning his body into a weapon against his wishes.
He didn't want to be anybody's weapon.
Now if you want to see how deep this thing goes, maybe Hayward is actually an undercover Kree, and he was dissecting Vision for the Empire. Or maybe Vision's body would have helped S.W.O.R.D jump into space, where they could be a threat to the Kree. So they told Wanda where they could find his body. This would mean that Agnes would be a Kree as well. Now I only say that because Agnes has only encouraged Wanda to have kids,
School admissions,
and bang the Vision,
what about seduction techniques?
and resurrect the dead.
You can do that?
These are all things that the forces controlling Wanda want her to do. Or Agnes could just be terrified of her alien overlords and she just wants Wanda to comply. So maybe this goes a little deeper. On the Skrull ship in Far From Home, this monitor shows a hexagon. Maybe they're monitoring this situation. Or this is just another Kree force field that they have under observation. Now, I know this theory seems to come out of nowhere, and that's kind of what makes it brilliant. But if you know the comics, the answer has actually been under our noses all along. Vision and Wanda's romance first began in Avengers 93, during the Kree-Skrull War. But what do you think? Would you be cool with it being aliens, or are you rooting for a supernatural villain? Let me know in the comments below or at me on Twitter. And if it's your first time here, please subscribe. For ScreenCrush, I'm Ryan Airy.